I am here. Nice evening, my friends. What a nice. I am here in the heart of Port of Spain, Trinidad and Tobago. I would have read in today's Guardian, the US airstrikes working. The drug cartel on the run, drugs, the cost of the drugs going up, marijuana going up, cocaine going up, the prices going up, you know. So that is part of the headline. Another part is that the PM pledges fair share for Tobago, you know. But my friends, the headline in the newspapers where the US airstrike have caused the drug traffickers and the drug cartels either on the run or they have bring their mission to a halt at the moment. But there's a drop, according to what is being reported, there's a drop in the amount of drugs coming into the country. And that is a good thing. But what is nice with the newspapers report this time, it doesn't say that Trinidad and Tobago fighting fire with fire, my friends. It didn't say that I, the Prime Minister, and TNT will fight the drug cartel. Fire, we'll fight fire with fire. We will kill them, we. Because that is the language that was used by our Prime Minister when she went to the United Nations, my friends. When America came to the Southern Caribbean with their warship and declared war on the drug trafficking trade and the drug lords and blowing up these boats, our Prime Minister declared that we are fighting the drug trade and the narcotic trade and the human trafficking trade. We, my friends. She went to the United Nations and used those words. We fighting fire with fire, knowing fully well that Trinidad and Tobago and our security services, our apparatus, not involved in that, my friends. As a result of that, our country is now in turmoil with Venezuela, my friends. With Venezuela, America is the one who has launched the campaign. Donald Trump, President Trump, and America with the warships and the warplane, not Trinidad and Tobago. We are not fighting nobody. We, Trinidad and Tobago, we does not have anything to fight anybody, even if we want to. Makela Pandey went down, see just Ikakas the other day. She reported back to us, it have one good working Coast Guard vessel down there, my friends. Our Prime Minister went on the world stage and for weeks continue to portray Trinidad and Tobago as though we declare war, knowing fully well we does not have a slinging shot, my friends, to fight anybody or declare war on anybody and put our country, our good name, Trinidad and Tobago, our even our CARICOM brothers and sisters, we abandon them in dunceness and with stupidness, my friends. You know now the headline reading, America is the one who because of their actions, the drugs, we have a decrease in the drugs and the drugs coming in, and America. Why our Prime Minister didn't go in the United Nations and thank Donald Trump and America if she thinks it's a good job they're doing for the work that they're doing in Southern Caribbean, and as such Trinidad and Tobago is benefiting from the work of that is what that you don't have to go to no school to know that, my friends. You don't have to go to no school. Yeah. That is all. And you know, you will remain friends with Venezuela, the largest oil and gas reserve in the world that we need and was about to tap into, my friends. And I've already tapped into, yeah, proper negotiations with get it back. Yeah. Common sense, my friends. Like, it's not a common thing. common sense. Now the newspaper is now reporting the right thing, the truth. The truth is America, not Trinidad and Tobago, my friends. People just keep reminding Kamala Persad that she have nothing to do with this. What is happening there? Trinidad and Tobago there's no joint patrol. Our Coast Guard, our Defense Force, not taking part in any of these things, my friends. How Trinidad and Tobago come involved in that, and how our name has been tarnished throughout the world. Even the Venezuelans were forced to call her, declare persona non grata, my friends. As one who doesn't recognize you, non-existent, our Prime Minister. They said she was drunk. In fact, one of the things that they said in the parliament, when they were passing that resolution, they said that she will sober up, and she would then realize how much we don't need Venezuela oil and gas. Yeah? And that is what's happening. All of a sudden, the language that she's using, it changed. It changed, my friends. Yeah? After isolating CARICOM for our own personal image and benefit, self, craziness, my friends, sickness. Yeah? She saw an opportunity to tie her name and write her name in history. Yeah? And we fighting drug cartel, my friends, we Trinidad and Tobago, people in Trinidad and Tobago in panic mood from since that time. They don't know when Venezuela, when bombs go drop, bombs from America firing anywhere, could land anywhere. They see us now as though we are their enemy, my friends, because of our dunceness, our dunce Prime Minister. And those persons who are wrong her, even our ministers, like nobody can tell her, because if you listen to them speak, they all speak in the same language, my friends. What school they went to? What school these people went to? Our Prime Minister put a tariff on CARICOM rum, my friends. The rum that is export. That is our trading block. Yeah. 100% on the Guyana rum, Jamaica rum, Grenada rum, Barbados rum, and whatever alcohol, wines and whatever. What these people do to us for that to happen? But she went begging Guyana and Grenada for gas and oil, my friends. That the same CARICOM who in 2010 she declared and let them know that Trinidad and Tobago is not an ATM machine, my friends. We are not, don't come here and beg for nothing. Do not come here and beg for anything. Our Prime Minister in 2010 told the CARICOM that, our CARICOM brothers and sisters that. She told them that. We end up in a trade war with Jamaica, my friends. You know, right now, we getting gas from Jamaica, gas and oil from Jamaica. Yeah. And she now is telling me that she going outside and look for new people because CARICOM, they sided with Venezuela. A lie, my friends. All they were doing is reminding her. Well, recently, 2 days ago, where she was in fact, she was signing on a treaty to declare Trinidad and the Caribbean and this area here, the Caribbean, a zone of peace, my friends. Kamala Persad Bissessa, when they reminded her, she tried to make it believe as though the drug trade, it's no peace. Is that what I was talking about, like as though the zone of peace is that the drug trade. And her dunce followers saying yes, trying to compare drug trafficking with atomic warhead and bombs and this kind of artillery in the ocean, submarine and B-52 bombers. And that's the kind of thing they're talking about here. She signed the treaty, my friends, and behave as though she don't know and was no part of that. How deceptive and deceitful and nasty-minded they could be, my friends. How? Because of self. Yeah. Self. And how I go look on the world stage. Yeah. Because I am important. America is a superpower. So I can't go wrong. I can't lose. Whoever might is right. Might is right. So I throwing all principle out of the window. All principle gone out the window, my friends. All decency. Yeah. The writing gone out the window. That is the Prime Minister that we voted for. And then she went crawling, my friends. She deceived us first. When she came into office, she continued to cry that the dragon deal is dead. It's dead, it's dead. And while she was singing that it's dead, on the 19th of May, a few days after she came into office, she and her government wrote to the United States asking and begging them for the same license that they were trying to make sure that we don't get our gas and oil. The PNM Dragon gas deal, the Dragon deal, my friends, that Dr. Rowley and a man called Siot Young and them was putting together for we. They do all the best to sabotage it. And then when they came in office, continued to cry that it's dead. And secretly begging America, without even telling us, that we're going to see if we could get a license, my friends. What kind of people are these, my friends? What kind of people are these? What kind of a nasty-minded people are these, my friends? That is what happened. We only get to find out about the dragon and the license and the date. Not even the media was informed until the declaration was made that we have good news. And the good news is that we get the OFAC license. When did I apply for it? It's in the 19th of May, my friend. And all along, continue to declare dead, the dragon deal dead. Yeah. And then, after calling Nicolas Maduro a narcotic trading government, a human trafficking government, a guns and ammunition trading government, a terrorist government, yeah, one who is undemocratic, my friends, that kind of government, after doing all of that in our parliament, she went crawling, my friend. She went crawling and begging. Yeah. After declaring, when she came and got sworn in by the instrument of appointment as Prime Minister, on that, she had a nice group around her where she make a declaration after doing many years of research and opposition. She said, our energy sector problems will be solved because Guyana and Grenada have the oil and the gas for us. The same Guyana and Grenada that she told, do not come here and beg. We are not an ATM machine, my friends. That is the same woman who tell the Grenadian and them that, my cousin and them that. Don't come here. Yeah. Don't come here. We have nothing here for you all. Yeah. Next thing is Grenada and the same Guyana. Yeah. She gone begging, my friends. Yeah. When they told her they don't know what she's speaking about, there's no agreement with she never. She said we go in Suriname. Yeah. All that time waiting for the OFAC license, my friends, without telling us that she applied for it. Yeah. But she was ashamed. She was ashamed to let us know, yeah, that she going and beg the drug lord, the drug trafficker, my friends. Yeah. That is the example. That is the kind of people that we living among, my friends. That is the kind of nasty-minded, deceitful people that is in charge of our government, my friends. The people now vote for you. They now vote for you. Look how much seats you get. You can't come and tell them, listen. You can't come and tell us, listen. You see this? Be in real trouble. And we go in and see if we get this dragon deal that the PNM was seen about and they failed to bring it. Why you couldn't come and tell us that? My friends. Why? Eh? It take the Venezuelan vice president, a lady called Ms. Delcy Rodriguez, my friends, to tell the people of Trinidad and Tobago, yeah, what the OFAC license entails. Yeah. Kamla Persad Bissessa left Trinidad and Tobago with a license, yeah, to go to Venezuela to get billions of dollars in oil and gas that belong to the people of Venezuela, my friends. Their resources. Yeah. and they must not get anything from it. She left Trinidad, she leave America, come here and go there. Yeah. The Venezuelan vice president, Ms. Delcy Rodriguez, had to come and tell us that not one molecule of Venezuelan gas will leave Venezuela, yeah, without Trinidad and Tobago paying for it. You could imagine that? You could imagine when we had our oil and gas, when we getting back pay and playing carnival, some people come and telling me, listen, all you can, you see that gas and all that, all you can interfere with it is we own, and we taking it. And we couldn't say anything about that. That is what Kamala Persad went and do. That is what she went Venezuela, she and Rudal Munilal and them, after lying to the people of Trinidad and Tobago and saying that the dragon deal is dead. Yeah? And saying all kind of nasty things about the Maduro and his government, my friends. All kind of nasty things to say about these people. All kind of nasty things about these people, my friends. Yeah? They then come in and telling me that we no longer will be part of CARICOM. So my friends, I just want to let you know, I am about to wrap up. This was a short live. But I'll be back with you again shortly. And you keep good and have a nice night. Thank you.
now that bumper need to be on our shoulder, yeah. Right now that bumper need to be getting closer, yeah. Right now that bumper need to be on our shoulder to ride. That shoulder go take you away, yes, that shoulder go take you away. Can we go take you away, yes, that shoulder go take you away. Can we go take you away, yes, that shoulder go take you away. Can we go take you away, yes, that shoulder go take you away. Right now that bumper need to be on our shoulder, yeah. Right now that bumper need to be getting closer, yeah. Right now that bumper need to be on our shoulder to ride. That shoulder go take you away, yes, that shoulder go take you away. Can we go take you away, yes, that shoulder go take you away. Can we go take you away, yes, that shoulder go take you away. Can we go take you away, yes, that shoulder go take you away. Right now that bumper need to be on our shoulder, yeah. Right now that bumper need to be getting closer, yeah. Right now that bumper need to be on our shoulder to ride. That shoulder go take you away, yes, that shoulder go take you away. Can we go take you away, yes, that shoulder go take you away. Can we go take you away, yes, that shoulder go take you away. Can we go take you away, yes, that shoulder go take you away. Right now that bumper need to be on our shoulder, yeah. Right now that bumper need to be getting closer, yeah. Right now that bumper need to be on our shoulder to ride. That shoulder go take you away, yes, that shoulder go take you away. Can we go take you away, yes, that shoulder go take you away. Can we go take you away, yes, that shoulder go take you away. Can we go take you away, yes, that shoulder go take you away. Zombie them, zombie them, zombie them, zombie them. Get on the way, Get on the way, Hold a woman and hold a man and hold a woman and hold a man and to let them get away, not to let them get away, to let them get away, not to let them get away. When you see the van coming down and a giant stand up in front, he protecting we in the van like a zombie. Put up your hand. Get out the way, Get out the way, Hold a woman and hold a man and hold a woman and hold a man and to let them get away, not to let them get away, to let them get away, not to let them get away. In Miami, for the Juve, for Labor Day, on the Parkway, Caribana, Queen's Park, Savannah, Carnival Monday, Carnival Tuesday, yeah. Don't let them get away, not to let them get away, don't let them get away, not to let them get away. Wind up like a zombie, jump up like a zombie, wind up like a zombie, jump up like a zombie. Spin your rock in the air, spin them like you don't care, bring them up in the sky, spin them and let them fly. Wind up like a zombie, jump up like a zombie, wind up like a zombie, jump up like a zombie. Spin your rock in the air, spin them like you don't care, bring them up in the sky, spin them and get all the way. Get all the way. Trinidad, zombie people. Grenada, zombie people. St. Croix, zombie people. St. Lucia, zombie people. Bejan, zombie people. Vinci, zombie people. Brooklyn, zombie people. Toronto, zombie people. Hold a woman and hold a man and hold a woman and hold a man and to let them get away, not to let them get away, to let them get away, not to let them get away. In Miami, for the Juve, for Labor Day, on the Parkway, Caribana, Queen's Park, Savannah, Carnival Monday, Carnival Tuesday. To let them get away, not to let them get away, to let them get away, not to let them get away. Wind up like a zombie, jump up like a zombie, wind up like a zombie, jump up like a zombie. Spin your rock in the air, spin them like you don't care, fling them up in the sky, spin them and let them fly. Wind up, let me jump up, wind up, let me jump up, spin your rock in the air, spin them like you don't care, fling them up in the sky, spin them and let them fly. Wind up, let me jump up, wind up, let me jump up, spin your rock in the air, spin them like you don't care, fling them up in the sky, spin them and let them fly. Wind up, let me jump up.
Because no race has the last word on culture and civilization. They do not know what we are capable of. They do not know what we are thinking. Because my work has only just begun. Up you mighty people, up you mighty people, up you mighty, up you mighty. Down in your
Yes, Trinidad, baby. I am here again. As I was saying, our Prime Minister has brought this country and its good name on the world stage, my friend, as a country that is stuck in the middle of a war that appears to be on the horizon because of the words of our Prime Minister, where she said, and she would have tied herself with the actions of America and the President of America, Donald Trump, in the Southern Caribbean, where they have declared war on the drug traffickers, and our Prime Minister have also declared war on the drug traffickers, fighting fire with fire, my friends, knowing fully well that it is a lie, it is not true, except that it would bring some kind of fame to she as the Prime Minister and maybe our country. But what it has brought, my friends, is ridicule. Even ridicule to her, our Prime Minister, as the Venezuelan Parliament would have passed a resolution declaring her persona non grata, my friends. Yeah. And then, when that was done, she then declared that we do not need Venezuela oil or gas, my friends. That was our Prime Minister. We don't need the Venezuelan gas or oil. Question 1. When did our Prime Minister, Trinidad and Tobago, when did our Prime Minister found out and realize that Trinidad and Tobago do not need Venezuela oil and gas, my friends? When did she find out that? Because that is the same Prime Minister who, according to the Venezuelans, she came crawling, my friends. She came crawling and begging for the very dragon gas deal from a narcotic, human trafficking, money laundering, communist, undemocratic, you just name it, government, my friends. A man called Nicolas Maduro, who she declared in our parliament she does not recognize as the president of Venezuela, my friends. She does not recognize Maduro and his government. But she went crawling, my friends. She went crawling to the same Maduro, begging for the oil and gas deal, the PNM Dragon gas deal, my friends. That is what it is. Begging. What could make our Prime Minister put herself and the good name of our country in such a situation, my friends? Knowing fully well, according to she, we don't need Venezuela oil or the gas. We don't need that. So if we don't need it, then there's no need for us to put ourselves in that situation. But what would make her put herself and our country in such a situation, my friends? What? Trinidad and Tobago. Trinidad and Tobago. What could make our Prime Minister declare that we don't need the gas and the oil from Venezuela, my friends? What? You know what? Shame. Shame, my friends. And they said that. They said when she wake up, yeah, when she sober up, that's the word. When she sober up, she would then know how much they don't need, or we don't need, the Venezuelan gas and oil, my friends. Our Prime Minister would have signed on a treaty, my friends. I saw it recently. CARICOM and other member states in Cuba, yeah, declaring this area a zone of peace with the full understanding what it meant. Yeah, what it meant, my friends. And she ignored it conveniently, my friends. Conveniently, she ignored it. She saw an opportunity to tie her name on the big stage with a superpower, as she would have made some great achievement, my friends. Yeah. Because really and truly, she is an underachiever. And all they know about her is when she was in government, it was the most corrupt government ever existed in Trinidad and Tobago, my friends. It is said that our government, the UNC led by Kamla Persad was worse than Basdio Pandey led UNC, my friends. That is a fact. That is a fact. Yeah. Then she declared that she and her government is fighting the drug trade and the drug traffickers, which turned out to be a lie, my friends. A lie. Yeah. And now, when businesses are closing down in Trinidad and Tobago, listen good, anytime a business closed down in Trinidad and Tobago right now, she then said, hey, you see, because of the drug trade, these businesses are closing down, my friends. That's what she is saying. So now she damaged the economy, you know. She damaged the economy. The IMF declared that we were on a path, we are on a path of steady growth, my friends. That can be found in the Guardian newspaper 2024. Yeah. On a path of steady growth. Yeah. And you know, 3 months into coming into office, 3 months, not long, Standard & Poor's, another international body, downgraded our country, the outlook, to negative, including to our main banks have been downgraded. 30,000 persons in the first 3 months of Kamla and the UNC coming into office after declaring to the people that nobody would lose their jobs, my friends. At this very moment, they are on the streets crying out, begging her, at least see if you could give us something for Christmas. They can't buy ham, they can't buy no toys, they can't buy nothing for the children, my friends. They have been out of work 6 months now. She closed down the CPEP, she closed down the URP, she closed down the reforestation program. All these are programs that were put in place to help those who are in need of help, my friends, and give them an opportunity to help themselves. Yeah, and in the process, our country will benefit. She called all of them ghosts, my friends, yeah, and closed down the programs without providing anything for them to those persons, for them to work, to assist themselves and their family. Nothing at all, my friends, nothing. Yeah. And then she damaged our relationship with CARICOM, lying on CARICOM, saying that they side with Venezuela, my friends. Anything coming she had, she just saying. Yeah. She said she now have to move away from CARICOM. Now I hear she say, well, she no longer moving away from CARICOM. My friends, nobody wants to be part of Kamla Persad, no one, because they saw her as one who cannot be trusted, my friends. One who cannot be trusted. She's a traitor. She has been a traitor to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. She has been a traitor to the very treaty that she signed in Cuba. She's been a traitor to the Venezuelan people and the relationship we had with them and our country. She's a traitor, my friends. She has betrayed the trust placed in her by the people of Trinidad and Tobago, my friends. She could not even come to the people who just finished voted for her, yeah, full support, and explain to us, listen, the OFAC license that I wanted America to pass sanction on Maduro and Dr. Rowley and them, I am now going to see if I get it because it's very important we won that. She couldn't even come and tell me that. She went sneaking. Yeah. While sneaking and applying for it, she continued to tell us that it did. The dragon deal dead, my friends. The dragon deal dead. Yeah. That is what she told us. Only to hear that we get back the dragon deal, we get the license, and she going to Venezuela by the same people, the drug traffickers, my friends. Yeah. The drug lord, yeah. The human trafficker, yeah. the murderer, because in order to run a drug operation such as that, you have to be killing people too. So he's a murderer. It's all of that. That's what the drug will entail. And she went crawling to that man, Maduro and his government, my friends, who she declared in our parliament. She declared that he is a non-entity. She does not recognize him and his government. Yeah, she recognized a man called Juan Guaido as the president of Venezuela, my friends. And then she turned around and went and begged that man and his government for their oil and gas. And my friends, you know what the license entailed that they were afraid to tell us? Because they was asked, what are the parameters of the license? What it entails? Yeah. It entails, my friends, where Trinidad and Tobago will be able to extract billions of dollars in oil and gas that belongs to Venezuela, my friends. Make real money. Maintain our lifestyle. Put money in the bank, money credit union, heritage and civilization fund. Put money in their bank account, but nothing for the Venezuelans and my friends. How could you leave America with that kind of license? How? Trinidad and Tobago, you all would like anybody that does that? Don't matter what party you're supporting, you would like people to come here, take our natural resources from us, and we cannot benefit from it? You would like that as a Trini? That is what our Prime Minister went Venezuela to do, my friends. That is why she couldn't tell us what are the terms and conditions of the license, my friend. Conscience. She's afraid to say. The Attorney General tell me some stupidness when they ask him about it. Yeah. Like the dotish. Yeah, a man called John Jeremy. Yeah. Yeah. But we must thank the attorney, the vice president of Venezuela, my friends, a lady called Delcy Rodriguez, my friends. Must give her, because we did not know until she speak and tell us what the license entailed. And what she said, she told us that not one molecule of the Venezuelan gas will leave Venezuela without we paying for it. So it means that when they get billions of dollars for free. You could imagine that? And trying to walk around this place. Kamala Prasad was supposed to resign, my friends. Resign. For what? Damaging our good name. She had brought the country's good name into disrepute, my friends. That is what she have brought. And make us a laughing stock throughout CARICOM and the world. Yeah? Kamala Prasad Bisesa in 2010 came into office and was about to receive some the OPVs, these boats that could stay on the ocean for 6 and up to a year and even more without coming to shore, with helicopters and fast patrol boats with high power weapons, with rocket launchers and laser guided whatever, and to fight the drug trade, my friends. And she canceled it, accommodating the drug trade, my friends. She canceled these things that a man called our Prime Minister, Patrick Manning, would have invested when he saw our location and what was happening with the drug trade. He decided that he's going to invest in the safety and well-being of the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And he gave these contract in England to build these people, to build these boats and helicopter and fast boat and guns, and to protect our borders and the people and our fellow men in the Caribbean here, our CARICOM brothers and sisters. The first thing she did when she came into office, my friends, she dismantled the whole system, including placing a lady called Rishmi Ramnarayan as head of our intelligence agency, my friends. A lady who was just had 22 other persons senior to she telling us, and then went to the parliament and lied, a whole cabinet lying and saying Rishmi Ramnarayan was qualified, my friends. Yeah, a whole cabinet, the Minister of National Security and all of them in the parliament saying that Rishmi Ramnarayan was qualified when the information came out. Qualified where? So her intention, my friends, was never to declare war or to fight or to even try to prevent the drug cartel and the drug trade from taking place, my friends. From taking place. Then the question must be asked, what could make or what could have made Kamla Prasad Bissessa dismantle and cancel our apparatus, our security apparatus that was coming from England, that was ready to sail and to come to prepare to guard our borders and to protect the people of Trinidad and Tobago and some of our CARICOM brothers and sisters, my friends. What could make a prime minister cancel these things, my friends, knowing fully well where we are located? It is one of the main drug transshipment point to the drug going to America. What could make our prime minister do that, my friends? She canceled it, my friends, and then tried to make herself something bright. You know what she said when they asked her? She said, our fight is not on the seas, it is on land. Yeah? That was not by accident, my friends. Anybody who is supposed to be held and charged for the drug trade striving in the Caribbean here is Kamla Prasad Bissessa, my friends. Anybody in this country who should be held responsible by Donald Trump and America for accommodating the drug trade, that it would reach America to the state that he's claiming is happening, is Kamla Prasad Bissessa, my friends. Who is today pretending and lying to the world saying that she's fighting the drug trade, my friend. We fighting fire with fire. She went to the United Nations and said these things, lying to the world and to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. On top of that, putting our country in danger, my friends. Yeah. In real danger, besides damaging our economy and anything, any hope that we had of getting the gas from Venezuela to power our economy and to stabilize and to get back people on the jobs, because a lot of people got fired from the job when she came in office, you know. We lost that, my friends. And just today, I read in the newspaper where the guy who in charge, who owns the mall in Lowlands and Tobago, Movie Tongue or whatever they call it there, he closing down. Yeah. Closing down. One of the top restaurants in Trinidad and Tobago, I think it's Trotters is the name, in Gulf City. They're closing down because, let me tell you why, my friends. The property tax that Kamla Prasad Bissessa promised, that no property tax that they put on the property and the property owner, that tax is now being passed on to those persons who are renting. Yeah? So the property tax. Then now she raised the NIS for the workers. So the workers, the person, the owners of the business now have to pay more money, NIS, for the workers who we hire. That's two. The electricity for these compounds gone up, my friends. Tiantec gone up. Yeah? The gas that they do business with, the 100 whatever tank, it gone up too. Yeah. So a combination of all these costs imposed on the business sector, my friends, they are now forced to close down, my friends. And not just that, when they saw the type of leadership that our country ended up with, there's no confidence, my friends. There's no confidence. The confidence has gone out the window with Kamla Prasad Bissessa as evidence of the downgrading of our two banks and our country, my friends. That is what is happening in Trinidad and Tobago. Yeah. We are in deep, deep trouble, my friend. Deep, deep trouble. And listen, just the other day, there was this rush in this gas station because it appeared as though some rumor had started, like America might bomb Caracas or Venezuela sometime, and people went helter-skelter, my friends. You know what? I heard somebody in one of these little shops. I went there to buy something, and a discussion about, you know, buying up stuff for the in preparation for if a war break out, so at least you got food. The discussion, what the person said, well, I have no money to buy anything, even if I wanted to. I don't have any money because the CPEP closed down. Yeah. And another time, my friends, you know what I heard also? I heard somebody said that they are waiting for when the looting starts. Now that is a discussion in the streets, you know. What I'm sharing here with you, that is a discussion in the streets, you know. They are waiting, my friends, for when the looting starts. Let me tell you something. If there's no food and there's a war break out in Venezuela, my friends, for sure, we could expect coming across the ocean, that little strip there, with nothing to stop them, is at least 1.5 million Venezuelans coming there, my friends. 1.5 million Venezuelans coming here. With our groceries, already have no food and no food stuff. What is going to happen? And people need, it's hopelessness, eh? Because when the war starts, nobody could tell you when it will end. Eh? When will the war end? When the bombing starts? When will the bombing end, my friends? Anybody could tell us? Because some of us want the bombing to start, you know. We won the war. I hope we would want the consequences too, you know. I just hope we will want the consequences. Because there are real consequences with war, you know. Real consequences. In case we don't know, all you have to do is watch what's happening in Ukraine and the Gaza, in case we forget, in Afghanistan, you know. That recent stuff here that happens, you know, and happening, you know. What you going to tell Venezuela when they're coming across? Don't come? Don't come? Well, let me tell you something. At that time, the amount of arms and ammunition that you'll have in Venezuela all about and everybody have, that is what could be coming in Trinidad and Tobago, my friends. What we have to stop and prevent that. What we have in Trinidad to even prevent that migration. Because our Prime Minister at this present time is trying to, she has taken away 3,518 work permits from the Venezuelans who were law-abiding in our country. They follow the rules. They're trying to make a living, as little as it is. You see them on the highway with the fry planting. You see them selling the water by these traffic lights. And you see them in the little car wash. You see them hustling and trying to make a living to pay the rent wherever they're staying and to feed themselves, my friend. These people have not done us anything. Kamla Persad-Bissessar, as soon as they disclosed that she is a non-entity in Venezuela, and she came crawling in order to execute revenge. She decided now to be revengeful on the Venezuelans that we have in our land among us here, my friends. On the brink of war, so she warned them to go back, to die. Yeah. She warned them to go back to Venezuela, to die, in case Donald Trump and America decide they're going to bomb with these warships and these planes and these type of sophisticated weapons that they have. Go Venezuela and die. That's what she's telling the people, you know. That is what she decided to tell the Venezuelans and them, you know, and send them, you know. My friends, another thing I saw in newspapers, our Prime Minister said that she's going to treat Tobago, give Tobago fair treatment. You know that? She went to Tobago and fair treatment, my friend. But even in Trinidad here, what about the fair treatment for the corporations that is held and run by the People's National Movement, the PNM? My friends, the Shogunas Borough Corporation, their allocation moved from about 17 something million, my friends, to close to 38 million dollars, my friend. Just over 20 million dollars are increased. $20 million increase. And Arima, they down by about $7 million or $12 million, not 7, $12 million. 12 Arima. Where's the fairness? Where's the fairness, my friends? All the corporations that is operated or managed by the People's National Movement, the majority of workers there is of African descent, my friends. And they place in the budget a reduction in monies by the millions of dollars, so that these corporations will now have to send home the workers. So they continue to target African people in this country and ill treat them, my friends, even using the government, the public purse to practice racial discrimination in this country, my friends. There's no other word that one could use other than racial discrimination. Just look at the difference between the allocations in these corporations where the UNC is concerned and where the PNM is concerned, and you could also compare when the PNM was in office, how they were treated, my friends. The PNM under Dr. Rowley governed this country with a recession, my friend. They came into office in 2015 where the governor of the central bank declared that we were in a recession. They went and they borrowed money to pay a 14% back pay and increase in salary that the UNC promised the workers, knowing fully well it had no money. They left office without paying it, my friends. And then on top of that, while fighting to balance things, they then had to face a pandemic, my friends. The CPEP workers, the URP workers, the reforestation workers, all these people, the youth programs, the CCC, the MILAT, and all the youth programs with the persons managing it remain in their jobs, and people get a stipend, my friends. With a recession and a pandemic, the UNC came into office with no recession, no pandemic, my friends, and at this present time, over 50,000 people have been dismissed from the jobs. Well calculated, wicked and evil, my friends. Evil, racism, that is what it is. Racism, my friends. Racism. That is what we are experiencing. Openly, government, yes, by the government, my friends, starting with the budget, the budgetary allocations. Yeah. That is what we are facing here, my friends. Where black people are being persecuted. Yeah. Their jobs are being taken away. And you know, they then was able to put into the budget $785 million for programs so that people could be employed, my friends. Up to now, the budget debate has been completed, and no one could identify one program in the budget debate or otherwise that has been identified for this $785 million that has been allocated for to see about the unemployed, whoever they are, wherever they are. The government ministers, my friends, you ever hear any part of the world, you ever hear anything like that? Where government ministers, in fact, are actually involved in the advertisement and the and the I don't know how to put it, the promotion of application of persons applying for job in the public service. Have anybody ever seen that before? And only in Central? Yeah. Only in Central, my friends, in Cuba. In Trinidad and Tobago. What about Port of Spain? What about Diego Martin? What about Scarborough? What about Charlottesville? What about Mason Hall? What about Arima? And they said that center in Cuba is to help those who really need help to apply. So you have to go there if you don't know. But people in Arima, they don't need help. People in Port of Spain don't need help. It was not a national thing, my friends. And they know if you cannot, my friend, if you cannot keep those already in their job, there's no job for anybody, my friends. There's none. There is none. What it's going to do? In fact, just today, I saw where the Minister of Finance, yesterday or yesterday, he said, well, I've instructed I've given the CPO the green light, but he can't go yet. Listen, well, I've given the green light to go, but he can't go yet. What kind of talk is that? You can imagine that? Yeah, so he got the green light to go, but can't go. Because it have things. Then what green light, what is it? What you telling people? What is he really telling people? You promised public servants, my friends, 2 budgets have been read. 2 budgets have been read in this country and no allocations have been made where the money is to pay the public servants. 2 budgets. My friends, just today, well, yesterday, I saw it and I say, you know what I'm hearing there cannot be true. And so I kind of left it alone, but I'll just share with you my thoughts on this. The North Central Regional Health Authority, there was an issue where on a few wards, about 4 or 5 wards, like it had 1 nurse working with all many patients, 1 nurse. And when it was brought to the attention of those in charge of the RHA, the North Central, they said that, well, some staff stayed home, and but the rest of the wards was covered and with standard. You know what is the standard? 2 nurses, my friends. So their standard is 2 nurses per ward. And it was really kind of short staff because it had 1 nurse on a ward, my friends. But generally speaking, everything was okay. Just because 2 is enough. Just about 4 or 5 wards had 1 nurse. And those in charge of the North Central is trying to tell us that the health care of the patients have not been compromised, my friends. And that's in North Central. So that is something I don't know what, I don't know. It is well known how I feel about that issue and those type of issues as one who was involved, and but on another day I'm going to share with you my thoughts on what is happening, and because let me tell you something. After the chairman or whoever it was who made those statements and tried to convince Trinidad and Tobago as though that is the norm, and as though that is just that it had 1 set of people stayed home, 4, and so it had 1 nurse and 1 nurse to whoever 15 patients, 1 nurse to 20 patients, that as though that's a norm. My friends, they're supposed to be in jail. You know what I'm telling you? Why you have to wait until somebody baby die or somebody die, and then inquiry, and then we wondering and nothing come out of it, and the people who in charge still in charge. They're supposed to start by apologizing and saying, listen, we apologize, we intend to do better. How you come in to try to make us believe that is the norm? And on top of that, we are hearing where nurses finish their exams, they have their nursing council number, and they're not hiring them. Why they're not hiring them, my friends? It's supposed to have at least 6 or 7 nurses according to the type of patients on award, according to the type of award, my friends. That's the average. Yeah? At least with nursing assistant, nurses aid, and that kind of thing. And they're trying to tell us. But what happened? You see, you can't admit that it's so short-staffed when the plan is somehow, as you promised, that you're going to open a next hospital, my friend. How, if you can't get staff to staff the hospital that you have, how you opening the Couva Children's Hospital that you promised, no matter what you're going to open it? Where you getting the staff, my friends? So the staff that they have on hold, that's supposed to be hired, my friends, is to try to let you feel and look me fulfilling a promise here, whether who dead. Who dead? Because when that happened, nobody does go in jail. Look how much children die in the Port of Spain General Hospital, my friends. Look how much children die. Yeah? The PAHO came and do all kind of thing. What happened to the report? What's the findings? Nobody does go in jail. The CEO, the board members, the charge, nobody. Yeah? So who dead? Dead. And that's what happening there again. Look at it. Yeah. My friends, the health system, our health institution has collapsed. It has collapsed, my friends. And it has gotten worse with this UNC coming into office. I'm going to tell you how. $100 million has been less of the allocation from the last budgetary allocation has been removed, my friends. You can imagine that? $100 million has been removed from the Ministry of Health budgetary allocation from the last allocation, my friends. 100 million less. Now, our senior citizens and our patients have problem getting medication. And when they ask them about it, now, let me tell you this. There are people and institutions that supply certain things to maintain the hospital and to maintain the patient's health and well-being. These suppliers, my friends, the government unable to pay them on time or even pay them at all, owing. That is to start with. So if you take away $100 million and you're telling me that you're going to open a new hospital, with what staffing and with what money, my friends? So 100 million short, so the money that you have also have to supply equipment and staffing for the children's hospital. This is why I'm telling you this, my friends. I'm just letting you know the level of dotishness that we're dealing with here, and dunceness. The level of dotishness and dunceness we're dealing with here, my friends. People that come to these hospitals and leave, they come in kind of alright and end up they're dead because of poor health care, my friends. And a shortage, a chronic shortage of nursing personnel. Yeah? Yeah. But I will talk about that another day. And let me tell you this. The president of the TTRNA, my friends, a man called Edie Stewart, must take blame for what is happening in our health institutions. You know what I'm telling you? A man called Edie Stewart must take a lot of the blame for failing to represent our nursing personnel properly, allowing the RHs to treat the nurses and drive them out of this country. On top of that, knowing fully well that the institutions that they have to train the nurses they are inadequate, And one particular that would supply us with nurses, Edie Stewart and the TTRNA went to court and prevent the government and close down that program, my friends. A program that was run by the Ministry of Education, the certificated nursing. Edie Stewart and the TTRNA, my friends, one of the best nursing program in this country and probably the Caribbean. They went to court, closed down the program, and then going and complain that it's short staff. Knowing fully well it's short staff, closed down the program. Hundreds of our nursing personnel leaving school, doesn't have another area or institution to train. So we short staff, and the avenue to bring nurses on board went to court and closed it down. And then they calling and talking about the place short staff. They have no moral authority, my friends. None at all. Dunce. Dunce. England, America, Saudi Arabia, taking our nurses, our trained nurses, with the certificate that he's saying it's not good enough to work in Trinidad. You have to have a degree or associate degree. But you see the certificate that we had, the nurses, all of them living in England, all of them working in England all about the place, that ain't good. It's good for out there, but it's not good for here. So they took the government to court, our government to court, and closed down the program. That same program that would have benefited and supplied Trinidad and Tobago and the rest of the world with nurses. And now he is on the television saying that it's short staff. And then on top of that, my friends, this is something that he doesn't speak about. This is something that he doesn't speak about, my friends. There's a thing called the pool policy. The pool policy is one where, like how you had one nurse, you had to get 2 more nursing personnel or 2 more nursing assistants. You call them out if they're home to come to work, to fill the void, and you pay them not overtime or extra time, but a pool rate, whatever a standard rate. And nurses does come out, but them are the same nurses who overwork had to come back and do the pool, to come back and do their shift. So the healthcare, the patients even are also being compromised, because the same tired nurse coming back to fill the gap, to continue going, and no rest, or very little rest. But here the part here, Trinidad and Tobago, when that nurse decide I had to take a break, and or they're not well, and they need some rest, and they take a day, 1 day sick leave, they are being punished. They are being punished where they can no longer do pool or the extra time or the extra duty until 14 days pass. So 1 day sick leave of your 14 days, you know, my friends, that you're entitled to, you are being punished for falling sick. That is written in the pool policy. You can get more evil than that? Tell me. It must be the only country in the world where a nurse or a person falls sick, submit a sick leave, come to work, and is being punished for falling sick, my friends. Edie Stewart, when you see him, ask him if that is true. Now, a failure, my friends, a total failure. Edie Stewart. Edie Stewart has been the president of the TTRNA probably for about 14 years, my friends. Yeah. About 14 years. Ask Edie Stewart as being the president of the TTRNA. Every minister he meeting, on the television, every morning, first he representing. Ask Edie Stewart how much nurses he have RMU status for to bargain for, my friends. Ask Edie Stewart that too. Ask Edie Stewart, after 14 years with nurses paying the $100 every month, How much nurses can you now bargain for after 14 years as the president of the TTRNA? And when you ask him that, and you get the answer, then ask him how much conference, international nurses conference he went on, and what was the benefit of going there? Yeah. These trips all over the world. My friends, the RMU status that Edie Stewart can go and sit down by the CEO of any RHA is only the Eastern RHA for 14 nursing personnel, my friends. 14. 14, and it may be less because out of that 14, because it was senior people on the brink of retirement. 14. Yeah. And he is on the television singing like if he is innocent in what is happening with the nursing personnel in Trinidad and Tobago, my friends. How after 14 years, the RMU status that you have to represent nurses, to bargain for them, is only 14 members, 14 nursing personnel, 14 only in the Eastern region, and you go on the television and talking about nursing personnel and the problems here? Listen, you see the man who say that it had enough nurses in Mount Hope, he and Edie Stewart supposed to be in the same jail. You know what I'm telling you? And these are the people in certain positions that cause, let me tell you something, number of nurses leave this country because of poor representation and no representation, being members of the TTRNA. Number of nurses, my friends, angry. Yeah. Nurses burnt out. Yeah. They can't get an increment. They can't get a CTOs. They can't get a public holidays. They can't get a holidays. Yeah. Yeah. They can't. And then you're punishing them when they get sick. Yeah. So the nurse frightened to get sick. Because when they get sick, my friends, they deny you. You come to work healthy and you resume from the sickness, the 1 day sick leave. You supply it, you come to work, so you're healthy. And if your name was rostered to do a pool that day, or next day, or whatever day, they take it off. And that's for 14 days. 14 days you have to go 2 weeks without being able to do an extra duty, my friends. That is written in the RHA policy on the pool, my friends. So they're punishing you as a nurse who already burnt out, overworked, short-staffed, for falling sick. Now tell me if it is not supposed to be in jail, my friend. Trinidad and Tobago, have a blessed night. Thanks again for giving me an opportunity to chat with you. Thank you. Until we meet again.